Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 156, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I'm here with my partner, Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
It's going. It is a Saturday morning, and we are here, and I am energized. I hope you are, too.
Yeah, do you remember, was that TGIF? It's Friday night, and the
mood is right. Gonna have some
TG.
fun. Show you how
it's done.
TGIF.
Saturday morning with my pal, Zachy.
There you go.
Yeah. We need like a little bumper introduction sort of thing for that, for these little, like, Saturday morning
Yeah,
episodes.
that's true. There's a different vibe.
Yeah, a little looser, perhaps a little more wake. Haven't had the weight of the world on our shoulders all day yet.
That helps, yeah. before reality smacks us right in the face.
Yeah, about 90 minutes from now.
Yeah, exactly. So what is new? What's happening?
Well, man, I haven't watched a whole ton lately. Been kind of busy in the outside world, but I did finally catch up on a movie that's over 40 years old. I finally saw Steven Spielberg's Duel.
So you had never seen Duel?
As I watched it, I think I have seen bits of it on television. And the main impetus behind all of this was there was a screening of THX 1138 and Duel in a theater out here in Los Angeles. And I was like, oh, man, I really want to go to this. Lucas's first movie, Spielberg's first movie, and I just wasn't able to go. But anyway, so I finally caught up THX 1138, talked about that. Duel, I was just curious. I mean, this is like early 20s Spielberg, his first feature-length movie. This was a made-for-TV movie, is how it began. And I've read in some interviews, too, with people, I'm trying to think, like Francis Ford Coppola and
George Lucas.
George Lucas. And yeah, just they have sort of comments about seeing this on TV and being like, having their hair blown back. And so I was just curious if it would hold up and if I would enjoy it. And it was released theatrically, I guess, outside of the United States. But yeah, this movie totally holds up.
Yeah.
It's damn good. Like it's sort of amazing for as simple a premise as it is. It's basically a guy in a car passes a truck and then pisses the truck off, and the truck chases him for the rest of the movie. And it's totally engaging. And the reason for that is Spielberg was always Spielberg.
Yes.
Like the camera work in this movie is nuts. I mean, I forgot that this was on television first. Like just sort of a TV. Like TV movies used to be more of a thing. They don't really do that anymore.
Not so much. Unless you watch Lifetime.
Actually, yeah, you're right. And a lot of times they were, like true stories that were, fictionalized and sort of told, and they're entertaining enough, I think, for the cheese, maybe. I mean,
generally TV movies served one of two purposes. They were either, like you said, dramatizing a real story, or they were a backdoor pilot.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So something like Duel is a little different because it's not meant to be leading into a series. It's just a movie.
Yeah, and they aren't necessarily known for their filmmaking either.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And just the way that any filmmaker can make a car chase for 90 minutes visually interesting is enough to be applauded. But just this one is like with aplomb. I mean, like It's just, you're like, oh, this guy always had it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. And for people who are fans of Spielberg and there's still Spielberg movies they haven't seen, I say watch this. I think you're going to enjoy it.
I mean, it is bananas because what was he, like 22 when he made that?
I mean, yeah. It's crazy.
It's insane because I remember watching that when I was in film school, and I was right around that age, and being like, it was almost like discouraging to me, to be honest, because I was like, he already had it,
I know.
How am I going to get there?
Yeah, it's true, and it's. I don't know. Yeah, and he wasn't that far off from then making Jaws and Close Encounters. He was on a tear.
If folks, if you're listening to this show and if you're a regular, you know that Brian and I worship at the altar of Spielberg, basically, especially like 70s, 80s, 90s Spielberg. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to be super critical about that stuff, but like seriously, like when you look at the fact that those early movies, the learning curve was not on display. He already had it at Duel.
Yeah, and when this 22-year-old kid in 1971 is directing action better than directors are doing now, I mean, it's something worth looking into. And if you want to make movies, I mean, this is film school.
Yeah. So. I mean, for him, it was like a mutant power. There was no other thing he could do but be a filmmaker.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that gets said about him is the guy knows where to put a camera.
Yeah,
and that apparently was always true.
That's awesome. I saw something slightly different from Duel, Brian.
Yeah,
I saw Fahrenheit 11/9. And
is it a duel though? Is it a duel between?
It's an ideological duel.
Yeah. So how's this? I haven't heard anything about this.
I mean, I suppose if we think of Dennis Weaver as Michael Moore, and the entire political apparatus as the truck,
right?
I suppose one could strain that metaphor. This is kind of interesting because this movie arrives 14 years after Fahrenheit 9/11, Michael Moore's previous. Well, no, not pre. I mean, his he's been making documentaries in the interim, but like certainly the politically charged documentary, and that was like a record breaker, when it came out. And so this was hoping to recapture some of that. It did not, as far as I know. It pretty much died on the vine.
Now, do you think that's? I hadn't really heard a lot about this. I knew it existed, but I didn't even know it was coming out. Do you think that has something to do with it, or do you think people have just sort of lost their interest in him?
Well, I think it's less him than the subject. And I think that yes, I agree with you that they didn't market it at all. So they kind of tied their shoelaces together a little bit at the starting line. But the other thing is that they platformed it to like over 1,000 theaters. I think that was a mistake. I think this should have had a staggered release.
Right.
Now, by way of description, the movie is a critique by Michael Moore of obviously the Trump administration, the Trump election, and he's making a broader point about the circumstances over the last several decades that allowed for this guy to get elected. But the other thought I had, honestly, is like I just think people are exhausted by this sort of shit show that we're living through. I mean, certainly for me, I mean, I'm not a huge Michael Moore fan. I agree with some of his politics. I think is a little bit too far left even for me on some areas, But regardless, I mean, me, I'm no fan of Donald Trump. So I went in as a receptive audience, right? But I mean, I'm sitting there and, this is at the tail end of a day where I'm like listening to the news and I'm like soaking in the world that we're living in, right? And then it's like, all right, let's sit down in the theater and here's 2 more hours of how shitty things are right now.
Yeah. What's kind of interesting too is that there are a lot more platforms.
Yeah, that's exactly
similar
right.
to his, it's just, so yeah, not only are we just living in all this, but we're also getting it fed back to us through commentary. Way more than we were when this first film came out.
Yeah,
right? And so maybe we did it. Like,
I mean, the thing is, like, for me, as I watched it, and again, many of the ideological points he's making, I agree with. I think he grounds the film in enough connective tissue where you're like, yes, I agree with this. Yes, you're right. I mean, he talks about the water crisis in Flint, which is shocking and horrifying that this has happened in our country. That conversation should be a nonpartisan conversation, right? It's just awful. But again, it's one of those things where I mean, like, let me put it this way. This past week, obviously, with everything that's been going on with the Supreme Court and everything, this, God, social media has been not a pleasant place, right? And I was telling my brother yesterday, I was like, I miss not being exhausted by the news. You know, like you wake up, you roll out of bed, and you check the news, and you're already tired for the whole rest of the day in advance.
Right. Yeah.
And so to me, that's the problem with a movie like this, is that it's just, I think people are just really, really tired.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I mean, this is a tangent here, but like every president has like a shelf life. You know, and even if a president is very popular, if they get reelected, by the end of their second term, the population is kind of like done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why having a switchover every 8 years is healthy, right? Because it reinvigorates people's attention. I've never seen anything like how much fatigue this president has engendered so quickly.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, even if you're,
Yeah.
forget like the ride or die people, because they're like, you know, they're committed. But like the tweeners, like the people who are like, all right, I guess I'll vote for him. They're just tired.
Right.
They're tired of seeing his face all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting phenomenon. And the corollary I make is like in California, right? Like, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we had the novelty of like the celebrity governor.
Mm-hmm.
But after him came Jerry Brown, and Brian, when's the last time you heard about Jerry Brown?
Yeah, that's very true.
Right? And so, it's right. I mean, you know, every once in a while, oh, Governor Brown something, you're like, oh, okay, but, you know, we're just doing our thing. And I feel like America is really looking forward to just getting back to the president we don't have to think about.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't mean to go off on a political tangent on this show, but the movie sort of,
I think that's very apt. Yeah.
you know, so I think that's the reason it didn't play, because I think people are like, why do I want to pay money to sit through 2 hours of this just shit show that I'm living through?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Well, is it good? I mean, is it worth it?
I mean, if you're interested in just having your worldview reinforced, then yeah, sure. I have to be very honest, Brian, and say I'm not particularly, like, I want to be challenged a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to say. Like, I feel like he dives really heavily into like the Bernie bro stuff. Like, oh, you know, Bernie Sanders and this, and I'm like, all right, come on. Like, I'm sick of that too.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's weird. I mean, it's like a 2-hour partisan screed, and I don't know. Maybe when I was younger, that would have appealed to me more. It appeals to me less now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be honest and say I can't particularly recommend it, even if you are on the left and you are inclined to agree with the message. Because the problem is, if you agree with the message, you already agree with the message.
Right.
It's not going to change your mind. So that's the other thing. I'm like, who's the audience really, right? Because you're not going to like, I don't know what Trump voters he's going to get in there, you know?
Yeah. And there aren't any necessarily like bombshells he's dropping.
Yeah, it's because his whole thing, you have to give Michael Moore credit for one thing, is way before the election, he called it and said exactly how it would happen. He's like, Trump is going to win the Rust Belt, and it's going to come down to these 3 states, and that's how Trump is going to be the next president. This is like 4 months before the election. And that's exactly what happened. And why did he say that? Because he said, this is before the movie, he's like, look, I'm from Michigan. I'm there. I know the way the current political situation is viewed there. You know? And so he brings that credibility. Like, he is from Flint, Michigan.
Right.
So the stuff that's really the stuff I found most compelling in the film was about the water crisis.
Yeah, frankly, I know about it, but not a lot, and I would watch something about it to learn more what I could do. And
yeah, right. So I mean, what happened? What he's doing is he's making the Flint water crisis an adjunct to. He's basically like, what we got in Flint is a sneak preview of what's happening on a national level. Which as a thesis, I can go along with that, but it feels like the more compelling movie was 90 minutes on just Flint, as opposed to, and here's, this candidate is running in this election, and this it sort of lost its focus, because I think what he's trying to say is our politics is broken. Like, the Democrats are just as culpable in what's going on as Republicans, which, again, that's a valid point of view. But then to weave that around, he's essentially saying throw everybody out and elect new young people. And so it turns into this political commercial at the end for various candidates.
Right.
Which is fine, again, if that's the argument he's making, but I just found that stuff less compelling than, like it's very damning, right? Because the early part of the Flint crisis, he focuses on the governor who's like a CEO, and he's like, I'm going to run Michigan like a business. Okay, well, that's very familiar to what Trump did a few years later, right? Mm-hmm. And so what did Rick Snyder, the governor, do? He took he basically took the water supply from Flint and switched it to the Flint River when it was coming from Lake Huron, and he did that so that they could build a new privately funded pipeline instead of the public pipeline, right? Why build a private pipeline? Because it allows companies to make money, right? So it's sketchy. But here's the thing, right? So the crisis is escalating, and everyone in Flint is like, President Obama, help us! President Obama, why aren't you coming? And then President Obama came, and he kind of did this thing where he's like, everything's going to be fine, and he like mimed drinking water, but like if you look, he actually didn't drink the water. Oh, it's like super like. It's like, given the situation and the seriousness, it was like tone deaf at best. Mm-hmm. And it was this moment where like Krusty's coming, and right. Krusty's just
yeah.
And so it's heart wrenching to watch that, right? And so again, to me, I'm like that whole saga is really fascinating. But would the Flint, Michigan water crisis documentary be as high profile as the Donald Trump documentary? No.
Right.
So it's like he tried to weave these two movies together.
It's interesting.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, I was pretty riveted with the tale. I'm realizing I need to inform myself on this a little bit more.
Yeah, read up on the Flint water thing. I mean, it's bananas. I mean, this is something I've been following it for years before this. I didn't know to the extent to which it's this bad. But I mean, you literally, like, the Flint River is just like a cesspool. Right? And so literally you have people turning on their drinking water and it's like brown. Ugh. And it smells. And people were getting rashes bathing in it. And the lead level was elevated and kids have brain damage. Like, you can't believe this is stuff you'd hear about in like Sarajevo.
Right.
But it's happening here in the United States and nobody cares.
I was saying, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, because I watch it and I'm like, we take for granted something as simple as, drink from the tap, go take a bath, whatever. Here, people have to brush their teeth with bottled water.
Unreal.
So I would say read up on the Flint water crisis and wait for Fahrenheit 11/9 to come to streaming and just skip to that stuff. That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
It's like half of a pretty compelling movie.
Yeah. I've really appreciated this in-depth take from you.
It's a little different. We don't.
This is very valuable to me.
We don't usually do politics on this show, so
no, but that was good.
So this is about as far removed from Fahrenheit 11/9 as we can get. I watched the pilot of Magnum P.I.
Okay, so how's this? What? This is CBS just one by one bringing back the 80s.
Bringing back the 80s by hook or by crook. They're switching it up. They're adding some diversity. And I want to say I'm glad about that. We have a new Magnum PI and he's Hispanic.
Yeah.
And what I love is that they don't even make a big thing about it. They're like, yeah, Magnum is back and he's Hispanic. What are you gonna do about it? Screw you.
Dun, 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 dun,
well, I'll tell you what. I watched the show. And I watched eagerly, waiting for the opening titles because I realized that was going to be make or break for me. Mm-hmm. And literally, 5 minutes in, and then we get dun, 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 and I was like, okay, done. They brought back the original theme song, and that was like 83% of the job. I was like, the next 17% just needs to keep me barely engaged, and I'm still fine. You're still at a solid B. Just because you kept the opening theme.
Yeah, it's a great opening theme song.
It is a great opening theme song that, Brian, they have smashed down to 20 seconds. I timed it.
Really?
So it was like a minute plus originally, 20 seconds.
Wow.
And
well,
like,
now, especially working in television for the past couple of years, I sort of get that every second is precious. And
yes.
So when I do watch a show that has like a minute-long opening, I'm like, what are you doing?
That's true. But Brian, this is the Magnum theme. Come on.
True.
God damn it. Is nothing sacred? I love that. Honestly, I'm going to say it. Probably the best theme song of the 80s from like a cop show.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Maybe Simon and Simon is like in the neighborhood there, and we got a few other things, but
especially when you say cop show, because I mean, if we're gonna, Doogie's got to be in the running there somewhere for 80s. But
if we're talking about sitcoms, and of course, The Facts of Life.
Oh yeah,
which is now stuck in my head and probably your head too.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to think of other ones, and I'm like, oh, maybe those are the 70s. It's like. Yeah, okay. I think I'm with you on this.
I'm going to put this out to the audience. What are your favorite 80s theme songs?
I love how weirdly adult contemporary-ish the Alf theme song is. It sounds like something you could have heard on like dun, dun, dun,
you would hear it on the phone while you're on hold.
Yes, exactly. It does. It sounds exactly like that.
That's hilarious.
How did MacGyver go?
How did MacGyver go?
Yeah, I'm thinking of...
Yeah, see? You got it.
Too.
See, the new MacGyver, this is where they lost me, Brian. Because the new MacGyver, it starts with like the opening notes of the original theme of the original MacGyver. If you remember, like before the title comes up, you just see like the little things of him preparing stuff with it's like close-ups of his hand.
Passport. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So it had that music, and then it pivots into some other friggin' piece of crap. And right then, they lost me.
That's when they lost Aki.
You have failed me, MacGyver. But yeah, so as far as what I thought of the new Magnum PI, it stars Jay Hernandez, who I really liked, actually. And I mean, honestly, it gives you what the title promises. I mean, this is not... it's not the Magnificent Ambersons, let's be honest. It's not, The Wire or something. It's
sure.
You know what you're getting. It's funny because I'm seeing online all these people are like, that nothing's gonna ever measure up to the original Magnum PI. I'm like, have you seen the original Magnum PI? I mean, I'm not even denigrating the original show. I like it, but it's disposable. 80s TV.
Yeah.
Because I was watching some of the original Magnum on Amazon just the other day, and I'm like, this is fine. I don't see what's that different about the new one,
Yeah, and it also is what prevented Tom Selleck from being Indiana Jones.
That is true.
His obligations to Magnum PI.
Although you look at Magnum, and it lasted 8 seasons, and you're like, well, as careers go, he certainly could have done worse,
Oh yeah, for sure.
It'd be one thing if Magnum ended after like a season and
yeah. I mean, that's people are vintage. I mean, that's what we still remember him as.
Yeah. So the show it brings back all the original characters. I mean, it has his buddy Rick, and TC's the chopper pilot, and they did a race not a race switch, a gender switch with Higgins.
Oh, yeah, I saw it in the ad.
The groundskeeper. But the nice thing is they've kept the sexual tension between Magnum and Higgins from the original show. Even though they switched the gender, so that's good.
That's funny.
It's fine. It's if you're looking for like disposable detective show, it that kind of hits certain nostalgic beats. I can't imagine you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
Also, this is worth following up on only because we've talked about it occasionally. They brought back Lethal Weapon minus the Lethal Weapon of the title.
Wait, how many seasons was that? 2? He only lasted 2 seasons?
2 seasons before he took a shot to the gut and went off to TV Valhalla.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a few months ago, how Clayne Crawford managed to piss off, at the very least, Damon Wayans.
Yeah,
his co-star, and so he got shown the door,
Yeah.
And so normally you would be like, oh, well, I guess the show is over then. But not, as we know, in the TV industry. In the TV industry, you can fire Roseanne from the show called Roseanne and still keep the show going.
And keep going. Yeah, that's a good point.
ain't nobody indispensable in TV. And it was funny is Clayne Crawford actually gave an interview just recently where he was like, yeah, I knew I'd upset people. I didn't think they'd fire me. It's like firing the Fresh Prince from the Fresh Prince. He actually said that.
He said that?
Yeah.
Dude, this guy...
He's like, I didn't think I was Aunt Viv. That's what he said.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
That is funny.
I thought it was Fresh Prince, not Aunt Viv. That's actually a really great quote.
Yeah, he gave an interview. It's like the Drunk Brothers podcast or something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
I'm assuming he was drunk. I only read the transcript, but he was like, they told me, like, if you're upset, just go to your trailer because they're all a bunch of delicate flowers over there in Hollywood. It's actually a very funny interview.
A friend of the show, Clayne Crawford, exactly. Right?
I'm like, this reads like a man who is absolutely unconcerned about working in the industry again. You know?
Right. Yeah.
But so they fire, and I said this about the end of the previous season, where I, like you, I had kind of dipped in and out. I was not watching the show regularly, not because I lost interest, but just because it's just time becomes a thing. But I was like, I thought that they gave the character kind of a poignant ending. He gets killed off, and I was like, I was telling our friend Sean yesterday. I was like, it's like a alternate realities. Like you have the one reality where Riggs has a happy ending and gets married and has a family, and then you have the other, the not so happy ending.
Yeah.
So regardless, they come back and they replace Clayne Crawford with Sean William Scott. He of the American Pie movies. And he's Wesley Cole, CIA agent Wesley Cole.
That's half the fun. Like, was it Quaid? What?
Cade Yeager.
Cade Yeager.
It's I was rewatching Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom with my brother, and my brother was like, "What's Chris Pratt's name in this?" And I'm like, "Chuck Manly Man."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm building my own house with my bare hands because I'm Chuck Manly Man, And then we come and like when they get to the plane, remember, and he's like already sleeping there. He's like, I've been sleeping in the plane while you didn't even show up because I'm Chuck Manly Man.
Yeah, totally.
And like every time throughout the movie, he's doing like a badass thing. Chuck Manly Man. So we got Chuck Manly Man, we got Johnny Mustache Twirler, we got the Ted Levine character. I named him Larry Evilman.
That's good. I like Evilman. That's good.
Anyway, so the new Lethal Weapon. I guess it's about as good as you can expect considering the circumstances.
Is he a similar type, or what?
Honestly, he might as well have just been Riggs from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they probably.
it's all about.
Themselves.
That's what Lethal Weapon is. It's about the partners.
Yeah. So he's less rough around the edges. Mm-hmm. He's got like he had like a tragedy in Syria or wherever he was in the beginning, and then he comes back to the States and he's like a beat cop. And he's got like a family he's got a wife, estranged wife and kid who he hasn't seen, and he's trying to make good with them. And then he kind of gets caught up in this thing with Murtaugh. By the way, so the opening scene, like we were introduced to Sean William Scott, and then we cut to like immediately following the season 2 finale. And so here's obscured body of Riggs being wheeled into the ER. They keep his face covered, and Murtaugh's like, this is my partner, take care of him, whatever. And then we see him like sitting in the waiting room, and like the doctor comes out after a few hours and he's like, I'm sorry. And then we see like Murtaugh like starts to cry, and I'm like, watch Clayne Crawford be just sitting at home and he's like, son of a bitch, like he's gonna win an Emmy based on my death.
Yeah.
But then it's like 6 months later and blah blah blah. I mean, it's what you expect. This is within the confines of a network police procedural. It gives you what you're expecting,
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, because first season, I know we were skeptical just because of the property, because we like the movie so much. And I don't tend to watch a ton of procedurals on TV. And I found myself really into this. Like,
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the reinterpretations of the characters. I thought the show was kind of fun. But like you, I sort of fell out season 2 just because of time, and then I didn't miss it necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things I think it would be easy to just kind of poke your head around the corner and check in on every now and then. So.
Yeah, it's and the episode ends with Sean William Scott and Damon Wayans. They become partners, and then Sean William Scott essentially turns to the camera and he's like, "So just so you know, I'm not Riggs. I can't replace him. I'll do the best I can." Like, it's literally that.
Oh, to the character, but it's essentially to us.
It's essentially to us, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm not the same guy from American Pie. I was really good in The Rundown. I don't know if you saw it. Like, it's,
I was also in Southland Tales. Did anyone see Southland Tales?
No.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Yes.
no. So we're checking out. It reminded me of, there was a show in the 80s called A Wise Guy.
Uh-huh.
Which that was a Stephen Cannell show, and so it starred a guy named Ken Wall, and he was on it for the first 3 seasons, and it was a pretty good show. And then he had a falling out, so between seasons they laid him off, and then we come back for the 4th season, and it's like, "Where's Vinny?" That was like his character. "Oh, he's dead now." Like, "You, Stephen Bauer, you're the new wise guy," and they just kind of rope him in.
Yeah.
And this felt like that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It felt that abrupt. That was my daughter, by the way.
I heard her.
She's very upset about Riggs being replaced.
Right.
And the 4th season of Wise Guy was its last. So hopefully that's not a foreshadowing. But you get it. You get why they're trying to keep the show on.
It's like a huge hit for Fox.
It's what qualifies as a huge hit these days.
Well, yes, especially for a network show, yeah. So it's understandable. We want to keep that going.
Yeah, exactly. So that is what's new with that. So we do have a bunch of stuff to discuss, Brian, but before we do that, I have a listener letter here that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
And this is from Marlene, and she says, "Zachy and Brian, just a quick message to say I just finished listening to your commentary on The Fugitive and was so happy to hear every minute of it. What a great job, and I love that you guys love Dr. Richard Kimball as much as we do. I wanted to share that my husband and I love that movie so much that during our honeymoon week, May 1995, of driving the coast from Washington State, where we married, down to San Diego, where hubby was stationed, on our first night in Oregon, instead of going out to a romantic dinner as planned, we saw that The Fugitive was coming up next on TV, so we ordered fancy room service and ate dinner in our hotel room in our PJs so we could watch it, even though we owned the movie on VHS and had seen it a bazillion times. Long live the Movie Film Podcast."
Oh, wow. That's very sweet, and that's really funny and relatable for us, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It's certainly, I love that our commentary was able to bring those memories back from Marlene.
Yeah, that's I'm so glad she wrote and sent that in. That's that's great.
That's super awesome, and worth mentioning. Our next commentary is going to be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, so we will keep the Harrison Ford thread alive into our next track.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a little break, Brian, and then we can talk up some trailers and headlines. And we're back, Brian, and we have a couple of trailers that I think are worthy of discussion.
Yes,
so,
I agree.
Well, the first one up, we have our first look at footage from Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So this one, it's already being hyped up as Marvel's next billion-dollar hit, which seems like maybe setting too high a bar.
Well, I mean, but when you're Marvel, you can say that and probably not be wrong.
Probably not be wrong. Yeah. So this comes out March 8th of next year, and it is our Brie Larson starring 90s set lead into Avengers 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just said 3 things I like. So, right.
Well, here, let's play some of the audio, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
I keep having these memories. I see flashes. I think I had a life here. But I can't tell if it's real.
So, in case there was any doubt when this movie is set, we start with our heroine landing in a fully armed and operational Blockbuster Video.
Is that kind of sad that maybe when we were kids, that'd be like her dropping into like a Woolworths or something?
Right?
And our parents would be like, oh. And we're like, that was like the reaction I had. I was like, Blockbuster, and like reached my hand to the screen. Be kind, please rewind.
I love that that's the shorthand of like, oh, well, this is obviously the past.
Yeah. That was a really great opener there.
Well, it's as visual shorthand goes. I mean, it's pretty damned effective.
Yeah.
And then we see in rapid succession, we see young Sam Jackson as we see Hold On to Your Butts era Sam Jackson.
Yeah, which we've said before, but Marvel has like basically been like, yeah, we got this under control. This like de-aging thing.
Yeah,
it's pretty unreal.
So I saw a thing online where somebody like lined up all the digital de-aging, like Michael Douglas and Robert Downey Jr. and Kurt Russell and Sam Jackson, and then they at the very end was a picture of Henry Cavill with a mustache, and then the opening shot from Justice League.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The whole thing is that the entire movie is going to be Sam Jackson, early 90s Sam Jackson, and it's extraordinary, how they're doing it.
Yeah, and I love, because that's the thing. I mean, that I think Marvel, maybe, I don't remember when they first sort of did it, but it felt like a lot of the movies were like, yeah, these origin movie, and then they came up with this really clever thing where they're like, whichever Captain America movie this was, they're like, this one's going to be a spy movie, and this one's going to be like this movie, and this. So it's like they almost are dabbling in different genres with their characters, and this one sort of just, it feels like that, even if it is just in a different era. I mean, much like the first Captain America, like this is a World War II movie,
right?
So it's just like a new angle for me to get excited to experience an origin story through.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, we also saw Clark Gregg de-aged, so Agent Coulson is back in this one. Not really enough in this trailer to form any kind of judgment on, but certainly enough to get you intrigued.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
I think it's just an outgrowth of the age we live in, where within an hour of the trailer dropping, you had about 15 clickbait articles. Why did Captain Marvel punch that old lady? And here's like 500 words of argle-bargle nonsense. Like, it's like, 'cause the lady's a villain, maybe, or just watch the movie and find out. What the like?
We won't know until next year. Yeah,
like it's really like the drain is clogged with all these worthless articles.
Well, yeah, and it'll be like, why Captain Marvel punching old woman is important.
Yes, right, exactly.
Or matters. No, matters.
No,
why
no,
blah blah matters.
Brian, why Captain Marvel punching an old lady is the best thing you'll see today.
Yes. We should be doing those.
We could.
We're probably living in Tony Stark's house in Malibu.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm sure the people who write those that are listening to this right now, who are like not living that existence at all, are like, I'm going to kill you.
They're shaking their fists angrily at their portable listening device. Yeah.
5 reasons why you shouldn't be listening to Brian Hall right now.
So that's the one thing I'll say as a comic book nerd is it's very exciting to see the Skrulls are now part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they are old timey Marvel villains going back to Fantastic Four number like 2 or 3, I think. Wow. And so that's kind of cool, and I think it signals that pretty soon the Fantastic Four is going to be part of this universe. That's
cool.
That is.
I'll be really interested to see a good take on the Fantastic Four.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
it would be nice. Yeah. Another trailer. This one, oh my gosh, Brian. We talk about like 80s and 90s nostalgia. I am soaking in it with this trailer right here.
Yeah.
This is Creed 2. Let's play some of that.
Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago, who infamously killed Apollo Creed, appeared today to issue a challenge to Adonis Creed.
Don't do this.
I ain't got a choice.
That's the same thing your father said, and he died right here in my hands. That kid was raised in hate. It's dangerous. He broke things in me that ain't never been fixed. It ain't worth it.
It's not just us anymore, Dave.
I want to rewrite history.
If you want to fight this man, that's your business. But don't pretend this is about your father.
Now, if you would have told me back in 1986 that, 32 years from now, you're going to get a serious sequel to this movie.
Right, Rocky 4, yeah. I mean, they basically made Rocky 4.5.
Right. I mean, I love the fact that of the Rocky series, everyone pretty much admits, whether you love or loathe Rocky 4, it is the most comic book of that whole series.
Yes.
I mean, the whole series up to that point is it's within the realms of believability. And then Rocky 4, they're like, yeah, here's a sentient robot. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Rocky owns a robot that wishes his brother-in-law happy birthday.
Yeah. And then moving on. Like, we don't even acknowledge that. It's like Johnny Five being like a supporting character
in a Rocky movie. Yeah.
And so here we are. We got. First of all, I mean, we've talked extensively, you and I, about how much we liked the first Creed. And then here now this one, Ryan Coogler did not come back.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a while there where Stallone was going to direct it. Remember that?
Yes.
For like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decided not to, and I don't know why. Do we know why?
I don't know if there's anything on record.
Stephen Cable Jr. is directing it. If I were to guess, Stallone may have felt hesitant to take ownership of a story that has become sort of one of it's a journey about a person of color, and it was sort of engineered by a person of color. And
yeah,
so,
it is. I mean, it's an African American experience.
Yes,
that first film, and I'm sure it's a continuation of that. And that's if that is the case, I totally get that. And that's
because there
cool
was
he can do that.
There was like a month or two where it was going to be Stallone directing, and then for whatever reason he stepped back. Now what we've seen here looks, I don't know, man, it looks pretty good.
I had a thought that might sound initially sort of ignorant to filmmakers out there, but when I watched the trailer, I actually not avoided it, but I was like, I get it. I know what it's going to be. Yeah. I didn't watch it for a little bit. And then I finally watched it, and it looks so good. And then I thought, how is it so hard to make a good movie? Like, they did it.
Sure.
I mean, obviously I haven't seen the movie, but it just looks good.
Yes.
And I'm like, so how do so many movies turn out bad? Like, just make a good movie. And I realize that's such a dumb statement, but at the same time, I do still feel a twinge of that. Like, just take whatever you're doing seriously within its own, terms, and just make a good movie. What's wrong with, I don't know. It's amazing how often that doesn't happen. But then again, you have so many outside forces that are set to derail you.
Yes.
And it seems like everybody on this movie knows what movie they want to make. And this trailer looks like with integrity, a continuation of the first movie that everybody loves so much.
It feels to me like what works in favor of these movies is you have Sylvester Stallone as the guy. He's the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So any like no studio head can tell Rocky how to improve his own series.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and then it's been around for so long, he's been wise enough to let it evolve.
Yeah, right? and so everything that's happening is done with his oversight, right? Because he co-wrote the script,
mm-hmm.
right? And so it's one of those things where even the studio is probably going to be like, well, if Sly is okay with it, then that's all that matters
mm-hmm.
in terms of the creative progression,
Right. You know what else is almost like a little trick or cheat that they have is boxing movie.
That's true.
Have you ever seen a boxing movie you didn't get enthused about?
That's true.
Like, there's just something about the formula of a boxing movie that you just can't help but get wrapped up in it and find yourself just cheering by the end.
Even if it's like Real Steel, where you have like robot boxers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what was that movie a couple years ago? It didn't even make a dent. It was Southpaw, I think it was called.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and I loved it. Like it's just, I just love boxing movies.
But yeah, so Coogler did not come back, but as far as I know, he basically has no involvement in this movie.
Oh, interesting.
Other than cashing a check.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he's going to be probably an EP on it or something.
Yeah, so this is what Stephen Capel said about when he was first offered the gig. He this is a quote from him. He says, "I went straight to Ryan Coogler and was like, man, why aren't you doing it? You know what I mean? Because you killed the first one. But he was caught up with Black Panther, and they were looking for someone to carry the torch and able to put their own spin on it. Coogler was helpful and told me, hey, do your thing. Add your own twists to it, but make sure you follow along the lines of the Rocky franchise." And I love that that's Ryan Coogler having learned that himself. Like, listen, but this is your template. You got to stay within this framework, you know?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This movie's going to make bank. I can't imagine, unless I'm completely misreading the temperature based on this trailer, it's going to do really, really well.
I can't wait. Wait, when does it come out?
Thanksgiving.
Oh, so shortly. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so this is going to be fun for me because I'm planning to go through all the Rocky movies with the boys, and I'm hoping to go see this with them.
Oh, maybe this is my time. I did that with Mission Impossible. I revisited.
Brian,
but there are Rocky movies I have not seen.
So you need to go through the entire series.
Yeah.
You need to make that happen.
I got to do that.
Do it for me.
Oh, I thought you were about to quote something.
Oh, yeah.
Do it for me, the Mixter. Or whatever.
the Zaxter.
Yeah.
Do it for me, McGarnagle. Moving on, another trailer here. Now, this is one that kind of a long time coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, this is Dark Phoenix. This is X-Men number 10.
Wow.
If we include the 3 Wolverine movies, this would be number 10. And
feels like more. Doesn't
let's see. This is number 10 because we got no.
I mean, I believe you. It just feels like more.
Well, let me do the math. We got the 3 original movies. We got the 3 Wolverine movies.
Yeah.
And then the 4 of the so number 10, and then we got the 2 Deadpools. So that's like 11 and 12, I guess. Now, well, let's play some of the audio from this first.
I came looking for answers.
You feel like you don't belong here. You don't. They can't begin to comprehend what you are.
She's changing.
And what?
You didn't come here looking for answers. You came here looking for permission. Jean.
All right, so this one, worth pointing out, it was supposed to come out Valentine's Day weekend, and it has now been delayed till summer of next year.
Right. Oh, Valentine's Day weekend this year.
Valentine's Day. No. It was supposed to come out like in a month, like Thanksgiving time, I think. Originally.
Okay, right.
Then they kicked it to Valentine's Day of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they kicked it to summer of next year.
Right, because I think reports were there were substantial reshoots.
They did a bunch of reshoots, and also Chinese box office is like a thing, and they feel like they'll do better if they release it in the summer. It has something to do with the Chinese release date.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because it's like a follow-on effect. Because so it was originally supposed to be like Thanksgiving of this year. Mm-hmm. Then they kicked it to Valentine's Day of next year because they need extensive reshoots. Then they kicked it to. They've now, as of like a day after dropping this new trailer, they've kicked it to summer of next year, and there's a follow-on effect because Alita: Battle Angel was supposed to be December, and then they moved that to Valentine's Day, and so and I think it has something to do with they want to open these movies so that they'll do well in China, or I don't know, some has something to do with the box office.
Interesting.
Although Alita: Battle Angel, I don't know, that's a separate conversation, but I just don't see that movie doing well.
I don't either, and I really want to like it.
Yeah, right.
Just because, I mean, James Cameron's been talking about this for so long, and I'm missing James Cameron.
Yeah.
So I would like to be excited about something from him, but the trailers aren't getting me yet.
Well, you've got Terminator 6 to look forward to, if nothing else. But okay, so Dark Phoenix. So it's funny because I watched the trailer, and I'm like, okay, I guess. Like I can't say that it really blew my hair back.
If you had told me that it had been assembled from cut scenes from all the other previous X-Men movies, I would have believed you.
I totally agree. But my thought, honestly, because I saw online that there was sort of this visceral dislike.
I would say mine is more of a casual indifference.
Which seems more within the realm of sort of acceptable responses. Because my feeling was like, well, it looks like the trailer for an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
And we're 19 years in at this point, and you know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thought I had was like, look, I mean, this is the end, basically. I mean, this is going to be the last X-Men movie of this kind, period, full stop, end of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Marvel Studios is moving in.
Yeah.
And they're going to turn it into something else. It's probably most likely going to get rebooted. Bob Iger gave an interview. He's like, yeah, we're going to hand that stuff over to Kevin Feige. He's going to Feige it up. Right? Whether you like that or not, you can see what that's going to look like. So I'm looking at this like, look, this is like one for the road.
Mm-hmm.
You go in and it's like for old time's sake, and and then you move on.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to get too worked up about it, which is why I found it somewhat amusing that people are sort of having this really like angry.
What's the thing that they're disliking?
I mean, it looks like they called a mulligan on X-Men 3 or X-Men: The Last Stand because it's basically doing that same story.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like exactly the same story,
Yeah.
But I'm like, again, I'm like, knowing that this is the end, I can't get too worked up about it. I'm looking at it like, you know what? I loved McAvoy in this role. Fassbender's amazing. This is one more chance to see them as these characters and play off each other. That's fun. That's always been the best stuff in these movies, these current movies for me.
Yeah.
There's Jennifer Lawrence, whether we want her or not,
right.
in this role. They're trying to make Mystique happen still.
Yeah. Right.
But this is it. This is the end. And that's even in the trailer, that song.
Oh yeah.
Right? So I mean that feels like at least a meta acknowledgement that, this is it.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's good. I'd love to watch another good X-Men movie. I mean, the trailer. It's funny comparing it with Creed because Creed. You got to imagine when you even said yourself, like they were saying, like follow the Rocky template, in a organic and creative way. But somehow that trailer just got me pumped up.
Yes.
And so something about this trailer didn't.
Yes.
But I'm also like, well, you said it well. It's like, well, it's another X-Men movie, and I'm like, yeah. So I'm probably gonna see it and. I think it's fine.
I mean, the last one, X-Men Apocalypse, did not set a high bar. So I'm like, well...
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one, actually.
Most people did.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if you're slightly better than that, I'm fine,
Yeah.
I can't care much beyond that. That being said, Brian, I thought related to all these release date shuffles, what is opening this December in lieu of Battle Angel Alita is Deadpool 2 in PG-13.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because it's not even... I remember they did that with Anchorman 2, but it was the reverse. It was released originally PG-13, and then they made it R.
Okay.
And they put that out before, I want to say, the Blu-ray release. So it was a bit of a novelty and almost a way to bolster, Blu-ray purchases.
Sure.
So, this seems a little odd.
Yeah, well, the thought I had was they must have shot enough alternate stuff for like television or whatever to be able to cut it together into something workable.
You know what? That didn't even occur to me. You're right. Because they do that. Like I came to learn working on some movies that the whole TV version thing is baked into ADR.
Okay.
So they have, I remember looking at the pages for the whole movie. It'd be like 2 pages of alternate words.
Sure.
And then when they had the actors, they would have, because remember in the 80s, it used to be terrible. They would have like these bad people doing impersonations of Bruce Willis, right. Calling people melon farmers.
Melon farmers.
Yeah.
Now instead you get Sam Jackson saying monkey fighting snakes on a Monday to Friday plane.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's good. That's for all time.
The other thought I had, Brian, was that could this also be a test run to see if Deadpool can play in PG-13, since it's also going to become a Marvel Studios franchise?
That is really interesting. I gotta wonder. I mean, I don't think it costs anything to put this thing back out there, particularly these days with like DCPs, right? Like when you're not actually striking film prints.
Oh, that's a good point.
So there could be a lot of things going on here. I mean, you know, just different markets trying to reap in more money from previous places where possibly it couldn't play.
I'm sure this has something to do with China, probably.
Since
everything else does.
Right. So there's probably a lot of factors here. It probably isn't going to cost them anything. Like you said, they lost a Christmas release with Alita.
Yeah, right. The thought I have is, and this is obviously what a lot of people are wondering, is what does happen to Deadpool once it's a Disney series?
I didn't even think about that, but it being a possible test.
Yeah.
Of how that plays, yeah.
But I mean, would people even want that, right? Now that you've established that it's a balls out, anything goes R-rated series, would people want, like, there would be such an immediate, whether rightly or wrongly, an immediate rejection of anything that's deemed as not that.
Yeah, and especially when it's proven to succeed.
Yes.
You know, extremely well as the balls out version.
So that's, I mean, what happens to R-rated movies once Disney owns Fox? Do they keep Fox, like, that brand alive as a way to release R-rated movies?
I have to imagine. Yeah. I have to imagine that it becomes either they keep it as Fox or it becomes their touchstone,
which isn't even around anymore, right?
Yeah, I guess we should just explain that. In the 80s, Disney had an arm called Touchstone, and that's how they'd release their R-rated movies, but they were still made by Disney.
Yeah, I mean, you had Hollywood Pictures, you had Miramax. These are all Disney companies.
Yes, yeah, but Miramax released Pulp Fiction. You know,
right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And by the way, the Gambit movie is still on the schedule.
Oh, that's cute.
They keep maybe one of these days somebody will make it. Yeah. I think Channing Tatum is just hoping everyone forgets about it.
Oh, you think? Or do you think he wants to do it and he's like, guys, I need this? Like, he hasn't been anything in a while.
I can't imagine he's in a hurry to make that movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it feels like, though, that's like a good way to keep payments on your house, having a superhero franchise.
Sure.
So I'm sure if I were him, I got to imagine he wants some bit of that pie.
But, like, how many directors has that thing cycled through?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel obviously has figured out their voice, and they get to have a similar voice because they're putting out all these movies, and it feels like it's a little more difficult for these other studios to find their footing, to figure out what their voice is.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's it. They're like trying to land on something that stands apart and feels fresh, but maybe they're struggling.
By hook or by crook, man, they're trying to force that movie out. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
it's a really stubborn turd.
So many questions. Like, where is this turd?
Well,
in what ways is it?
It's lodged somewhere. What orifice?
Yeah.
I'll let you decide. But either way, it's stubborn and it's stuck. Fox needs to increase its fiber intake to get this thing finished.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I'll just leave that there. Speaking of a movie that I never thought would actually happen, but it appears that maybe Gambit will follow this trajectory. Moving on to headlines, Space Jam 2, Brian.
Yeah.
Space Jam 2 has moved out of the realm of an internet short parodying the idea of Space Jam 2 and is now becoming an actual thing.
This has been teased for a long time, and a lot of people have said, well, the first one, of course, starring Michael Jordan, and people saying the second one now would star LeBron James, but it sounds like it is now going to star LeBron James.
Yes, so a couple things. Number one, the fact that it's not starring Michael B. Jordan feels like an unforgivable failure. From all concerned.
That feels like that should be like some sort of, even if it's not in the film, some sort of trailer joke with him. Showing up on set and he's like, what? Oh,
now that would be a funny internet short.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's going to star LeBron James, and it's being directed by a young fella named Listen to me, Terrence Nance, who I don't know who that is. I've never seen anything that he's done, but he seems to have a promising filmography just from what I'm looking at on IMDb here. Mostly shorts.
Okay.
And a few TV episodes. But it's produced by Ryan Coogler. That's why Ryan Coogler is not there for Creed 2. Forget Black Panther. He's busy producing Space Jam. Now, doesn't this movie feel like something that everyone sort of agreed to on a dare? And then suddenly it's happening?
Yeah. So if it was like teased to them, like, sure. Yeah, okay, fine. I mean, and now it's actually happening, and now they have to.
Calling back to the earlier part of our conversation, when Trump ran for president, he basically did it on a dare,
right? And
then suddenly he got elected,
and he's like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, I feel like everyone involved is like, "Wait, guys, we have a release date. Guys, we have a budget. I think this is happening."
But see, what's so interesting about it is Space Jam came out peak Michael Jordan, peak Looney Tunes. Yes. Like that is such a '90s movie.
Well, I would say I wouldn't say it was necessarily peak Looney Tunes. I would say Looney Tunes were on like a slightly downward slope, and they were elevated by Jordan.
No, you're right. Okay, peak's not the right word, but the '90s Looney Tunes was back.
That's
right. Like you had T-shirts. I remember my brother had this T-shirt of the Looney Tunes dressed like crisscross, I think, with their clothes on backwards.
Yes.
And stuff. So I mean, that was like a total '90s resurgence of Looney Tunes.
Yes.
So I'm just sort of curious. I love Looney Tunes. I would love for this to like catch on, but I wonder if this is going to be parents dragging their kids. No, he's the duck. He's hilarious.
Well, I feel like, I mean, LeBron. I see. It's weird, right? And this is a conversation that I'm sure you and I have with like people younger than us, because that question of who's the greatest of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's whether it's Jordan or LeBron James, and I'm like, well, it'll always be Michael Jordan for me.
Yeah, and I know this is like going to sound like an old man, but like if you weren't there for Jordan in the '90s, like you don't know. Like,
yes, no, it's true.
Not just in terms of his gameplay, but I mean in terms of like worldwide beloved.
He was ubiquitous
figure. I mean, countries that didn't watch U.S. basketball love Michael Jordan. I mean, like he was global. And I think LeBron James obviously is one of the best basketball players of all time, but it's just different.
No, you're right. Jordan was he was a phenomenon.
I remember those Gatorade commercials, like "I Want to Be Like Mike." That was like a whole song. I remember there's a cassette single for that about children singing about how they want to be Michael Jordan.
And when it comes to Space Jam, remember the toys?
I actually don't.
There were toys. There was like the talking Michael Jordan dolls.
Really? Yeah. Wow, I don't remember this.
You would push a little button in his chest, and he'd say, "Let's play some basketball." And then you'd press again. He'd be like, "You guys are my best friends."
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's what I love about Michael Jordan, because like he's a little wooden.
Yes.
In that movie, like you could tell he was acting against a tennis ball, going like, "What are you talking about, Bugs?" But that's part of the charm, I love that though in that Michael Jordan acting voice, like, "You guys are my best friends."
Did you watch Space Jam in the theater?
I don't know that I did, but I definitely remember watching it at home.
Yeah, I saw it. I for sure saw it in the theater. I saw it at Woodfield Mall back in, must have been, it would have to have been like November or December of '96. But I just wasn't the audience for it. But I remember, my mom used to babysit kids at the time, and they couldn't stop watching it. So I can easily understand those kids now being grown-ups and wanting that experience again. I always say this, like I was too old for that movie to hit me in the right place, but I can see how now, 22 years later, there is an audience for it. So,
now that you mention that, this is worth bringing up, because I think that's why I remember it, and I think of it with a smile on my face, but I might have been slightly too old. But that reminds me, I have a friend that I worked with who's younger than me, and he is all about Space Jam. And actually, he just posted on his Instagram the other day a picture of him wearing a hoodie that said like Toon Squad.
How funny.
And I'm like, oh, what you're saying, it just didn't occur to me because it isn't on my radar, but this is on a lot of people's radars from their childhoods. And
well, that's
you're exactly
Brian,
correct.
That's when it really, when I made that realization was, I go to Target and I go to their like nostalgia T-shirts, right? You know me. That's like my uniform. And then one day, what do I see but a Space Jam T-shirt amidst the, Bob Ross and, E.T. and stuff and there's Space Jam. And that's when I realized, oh, this is old enough to be that now.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, then I'm happy for those guys. I mean, my friend's going to flip for this, so that's awesome.
All I want is my talking LeBron James doll where he's like, you guys are my best friends.
Yeah.
Just give me that, and I will not buy it, but I would like to see that in stores just for my own amusement.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So last time we talked, I mentioned the DC Universe streaming app. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And how I was working my way through it, watching old episodes of Lois and Clark and the Human Target, and DC, they have that F Batman series coming up, which it's called Titans, but let's be honest, it should be called F Batman.
Yeah.
So Marvel, obviously, they pulled a hold my beer when it comes to... So Disney has this streaming service. I think it's going to be called Disney Play, although I don't know if they've announced what the title is. But, they're going to have several streaming exclusive shows that they're doing. They've got that Jon Favreau Star Wars series that they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So just to sweeten the pot slightly, they're doing MCU series exclusive to the streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
And they've announced that two of these are going to be Loki and Scarlet Witch.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear this and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I wonder who they're going to get to play Loki and who they're going to get to play Scarlet Witch. Well, because they are Disney, they don't do anything halfway. And they say, who's going to play Loki? Tom Hiddleston.
Right.
You know who's going to play Scarlet Witch? Elizabeth Olsen. Suck it, DC Universe.
Yeah. I mean, hold my beer. Give me a break. I mean, They're going to have this, I think the Star Wars series is, one of the most expensive TV series of all time, directed by Jon Favreau. And, it's... I'm stoked for that. And then, now you got these A-list actors making these TV shows for this exclusive streaming service. Well, I guess that's not particularly new. I mean, with Netflix and whatever, but...
it isn't, but I think that...
To rival the services, the other comic services.
I mean, certainly if it wasn't enough on its own to be like, hey, we're going to have a Loki TV series to get people interested, because Disney needs to say... They need to make their streaming service the one that you have to get.
Yes.
And if you're a Marvel fan, I don't know how you don't subscribe to this.
Yeah. I mean, I would do it. And I like it, too, because it's cheaper than the other ones. I think it's supposed to only be about $6.
Which is genius, because they're going to make it up in volume.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's for me, a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of those Netflix shows or whatever, and you say, well, they're in the Marvel Universe, but, I mean, we kind of accept or understand that it's it's in the Marvel Universe, but not really in the Marvel Universe,
Mm-hmm.
Well, here, I mean, this is obviously part of it. You can't escape it,
Yeah.
And what's interesting, what I read, is that these streaming shows, these Disney streaming shows, are going to be made by the Marvel Studios, by the movie people.
Wow.
And not the TV side. Because the TV side has a whole different brain trust. Jeff Loeb is in charge of that, and they're, all the Netflix shows and everything, that's through them.
I wonder how that feels. For them.
Yeah,
I mean,
well...
Are they a little jelly? They're like, hey, dude, we got a TV division over here.
I mean, you have to imagine that the TV side is like a little pebble in Kevin Feige's shoe.
Uh-huh.
I have to imagine. I mean, he seems like a generous and nice guy, but I would imagine that if he's been making all this effort to make this universe cohesive, and then you've got those kids down the street who are playing with your toys, there's a little bit like I remember when I was a kid, I would go to school, and occasionally, our neighbors would come over to our house when I was gone, and the kids would play with my toys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very upsetting because I'd come back, and the way I had set things up on my shelf was all ruined and messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, somebody's here playing with my toys.
Yeah.
That's Kevin Feige.
Yeah. Yeah, and with his name on it. His name. I mean, you know what I mean. The Marvel name.
The Marvel name. But Feige is Marvel these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, super excited. But my niece is very excited for this because she's 15, and man, she loves Loki.
That's great.
He's so complicated, Brian. But I can change him.
I didn't even think of it.
Is it even surprising that 15-year-old girls love Loki? Isn't that...
Well, now that you mention it this way, and he's got like the jet black hair, he's kind of goth. Yeah.
I took her with me to Infinity War, and within the first 5 minutes, obviously, she was bawling.
Well, hey, wipe your tears.
There you go.
He's back.
Dry those tears, because he's a-coming. So that's cool. I mean, I am actually looking forward to that. There's no timeline on when this is coming, but doesn't matter. It's going to make all the money,
Yeah. Oh, and as a complete, well, not completely non sequitur, but I have a friend... I'll keep it all vague, but interviewed at Marvel for a position and got as far along as meeting Kevin Feige.
No way.
And apparently he is a super cool, nice guy.
I get that sense just from seeing him in interviews and everything I've heard about him, so that's cool. Good to have that confirmed.
Ditto, and I kind of wanted it confirmed. And they ended up realizing that the job wouldn't be best for them, so they had the difficult proposition of having to turn it down.
Oh wow!
And he was very cool and supportive of it, and I was just like, "That's cool."
That is cool. It's interesting because both Kevin Feige and Jeff Johns, Marvel and DC, they both started as essentially assistants to Richard Donner, and they're buddies and they hang out and they're friendly with each other. And I'm like, can fans just learn from that?
Yeah.
I was just reading about how, I don't know if you saw this, Diane Nelson, who was the head of DC Films until just recently. So she left for whatever reasons, but she posted on Twitter. So she just started like a Twitter account, which Brian, you can almost tell where this story is going to go, right? So the Joker film, which is filming right now, Todd Phillips directing, Joaquin Phoenix. Which, again, I'm hoping that when it comes out, it's going to be spelled Joaquer. I'm hashtag spelled that way. That's what I want that to be like Batfleck. I want that to take off, and I want to be able to get credit for it. Anyway, so the pictures came out, and we'll talk about those in just a second. But Diane Nelson tweets this thing where she's like, this is great. This is what I'd been advocating for ever since Nolan. Like, let filmmakers come in and just make their movies and, whatever. And a relatively innocuous thing, in my opinion. You read that, you're like, yeah, cool, And, oh, my God. Brian, the Zaddies. The Zaddies came out, and they're like, oh, you're just a snake. You know what you did to Zach. You have to live with that. I'm not making any of this up. This is verbatim. Like, what you did to him, that's going to be on your conscience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? And to the point that she locked her account and then deleted her account.
That's... Look, I'm not in her position, so I can't imagine how attacked of a feeling that must be, but, like, I just wish people would ignore them. And just go away. Like, let these people, the rational people, thrive and move on, and let them just go back to their cracks in the wall.
Yeah, and the thought I've had is I'm sympathetic to Zack Snyder having. I mean, obviously he's gone through stuff that's extremely traumatic. Above and beyond, obviously what happened with his daughter, which is horrific. But then to have a movie taken away from you and stuff. I mean, you wouldn't wish that on anybody, right?
Yeah.
That being said, I know he can't be okay with this bizarre thing that he's inspired online, and he needs to say something. He needs to tell people to dial it back, because it's almost like he's the only one who can.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you're right, because as before you even got to that conclusion there, I was just thinking, like, how do you curb this? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And then you're right, like the person who, like you say, is inspiring this against their own, probably. Yeah.
It's, will. I mean, Brian, I'll tell you something.
They're the only people that can. Maybe the only person they will listen to.
Maybe they won't. I mean, geez, like, it's like the movement like transcends the guy, But like, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen any filmmaker inspire this. And it's almost as like a sociological phenomenon. It's fascinating to me. Because I don't understand it. Because I'm not saying he's not worthy of acclamation. I mean, we've acknowledged he's a very talented filmmaker.
He's got a style for sure. You know Zack Snyder when you see it. Yeah.
That's exactly right. But it's. I mean, there are other directors in that vein. I mean, you don't have Michael Babes or whatever, like people online who are worshiping at that altar.
Right.
In the same way. So I'm like, what is it? What is it about him that inspires this? It's we almost need like the benefit of 10 years of hindsight just to track it. You know?
I don't know. Sounds like a book, Zachy.
Sounds like it could be. I'm not going to write it because I don't want these zaddies coming after me. Shit. I've dealt with that.
Good point.
I've dealt with that already in the past month. I'm good.
Yeah.
But talking about that Joker movie, this is the movie, Brian, that you may recall. About a year ago, I very confidently issued a proclamation on this show. This will never happen, I said, as I shaked my finger thusly toward the heaven. It is happening. So it's filming right now, the movie that I said would never happen.
Well, what I thought was interesting, too, was the last episode, we were talking about our confusion over how it fits into the universe and what is Warner Brothers doing, and I don't know, is this a good idea? And then it's almost like they heard us.
Yes.
And it's like the Simpsons quote. I'm not even going to explain. If you get it, you get it. But, little girls lost their faith in democracy. And then everyone springs into action. It feels like people heard us say that at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And they're like, these two guys don't believe in this Joker movie. And so then immediately there was like, not just like one picture, there was like pictures, video, behind the scenes footage.
But is any of that official? Well, there was the official stuff that Todd Phillips released of Joaquin Phoenix out of the makeup.
Yes.
And
then in the makeup.
The in makeup stuff, is that official or is that all like paparazzi?
That was official. Did you see the actual video?
I saw the video. Yes, I did see the video.
Yeah, where it like pushes in on his face and then.
So is that the final Joker design or is that like on a progression?
I don't know, but in my head, I imagine it's a progression. Like maybe that's his first, because that wouldn't even be such a bad tease, right? Because then we're still not seeing what he's eventually going to become. But it's an interesting look. I mean, it's got this sort of classical clown makeup that looks hastily applied, but his suit appears to resemble like the 66 sort of purple stylized.
Yes, right.
Sort of thing.
It looks like a merger of Cesar Romero and Heath Ledger.
It totally, exactly.
Right.
And I gotta say, it's working. It's working for me.
So far, I can't say I have any complaints. My concern is a broader one of, do I want to spend 2 hours sympathizing with the Joker?
See, that's we've mentioned that, and I completely agree, because I don't want to root for a murderer for 2 hours.
Yes.
And I don't know what this movie is, but I do think obviously they're onto something, and I do like the look of it. So I am definitely intrigued.
To
more
me,
than I was.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What I've said all along is Joaquin Phoenix has given me a higher degree of interest than I probably would have otherwise.
Sure.
Because he tends to make interesting choices. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, Tom Hardy tends to make interesting choices, and we've got his supervillain movie coming up in a few days. So,
we got another episode coming up soon.
Another one coming, yeah. But I'm interested in I'm interested in the movie. I mean, we're going to watch it regardless. But if it succeeds, what lessons will they learn from it? Are they going to be like, oh, well, now we got to get Batman in here? Or are they going to instead be like, hey, what other properties do we have that we can do something off the beaten path with?
Yeah, and see, that's my thought. I wonder if Batman sort of is introduced at the end.
Sure.
Like as a response to whatever is happening during the movie, or maybe it's like a tragic fall movie. I have no idea. Yeah,
well, we know Brett Cullen is going to be Thomas Wayne.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Alec Baldwin was originally going to do that role, but I guess he backed out. But and the character is described as like a 80s era Donald Trump type.
Oh, the Wayne.
Yeah,
Thomas
so
Wayne.
That's kind of interesting. So in other words, the film is almost like Baroque, like it's told from a particular point of view.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting, you know?
Sure.
But it seems like DC's doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, I don't know if you saw this, but they put out a comic a couple weeks ago, Batman Damned.
I feel like I've heard about this, but I don't really know the story. Can you?
Well, I haven't read it, but this is part of a DC Black Label imprint, which is more mature-themed story. So it's by Brian Azzarello. It's called Batman Damned, and apparently there's a panel where he whips out his dong. And so there's like a panel of a comic where you see Batman's dick.
Okay.
And there was a thing in the Onion, or like not the Onion, the AV Club, where they're like, this is off continuity, so this is not Batman's canonical dick. And I just said, I'm glad I've lived long enough for the phrase Batman's canonical dick to be part of my lexicon,
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I looked at the picture and I'm like, how does it not have scallops on it? Like the gloves, That's
that was a missed opportunity.
That seems like a mistake. So, I have not read the I know nothing about it, and I don't even want to postulate on what sequence of narrative events leads to Batman whipping his thing out. There's things I don't need to know, but that exists now in this world. So,
well, and I feel like I've read sort of through, like, glancing through other people's sort of comments on it. It seems like it's sold out, and they're going to have to reprint it. And will they do that again or take it out?
They're not.
Feels like it created a fervor.
They are not reprinting the comic.
Okay.
So one and done for that. However, I'm assuming they'll do like trade paperbacks or whatever, and they will black it out.
Yeah, so it is like a publicity stunt.
What a weird, like, we're just getting old where you're like, really? This is,
Yeah. I mean, they have like a whiteboard of like ideas for publicity stunts, and it just says Batman's wiener, ? And then all of a sudden someone just goes up and looks at all of them and like doesn't say a word, picks up a marker, and just circles Batman's wiener, and then walks away.
I picture the boardroom at the beginning of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Planes, Trains, yes.
Oh my gosh! All right, well we need a second to recover from that. So why don't we take a little break, and we'll come back and talk some Star Wars news right after this. And we're back, and Brian, I hear some music, so I think that means it's time for Star Wars news.
Tis. Well, sad news leading off here. Producer of the original Star Wars films, Gary Kurtz, passed away this past week.
Oh, such a bummer. So he produced Star Wars and Empire.
Yes, and I guess we should say 78, and he was suffering from cancer, so it's really sad. And he produced those films, but he also was I didn't know this. He shot second unit on the first film on A New Hope, and then I guess selected scenes on Hoth.
Yes, and he was the on the ground producer in England when they were doing Empire, and so he was really kind of the bullet taker between Irvin Kershner and George Lucas. Mm-hmm. Because essentially they had a falling out after Empire because of budget issues and whatnot. But I don't think we can undervalue how important Gary Kurtz was in making the Star Wars that we love into the Star Wars that we love.
See, I have to admit, as big a fan as I am, I'm completely familiar with his name, but I don't really know that story of like of what he had a hand in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in the past we've talked about Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Mm-hmm. And not, just to be clear, I'm not saying that George Lucas is Bob Kane-esque in terms of diminishing his partner's collaboration, but I think the level of contribution Bill Finger had to Batman, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Gary Kurtz was that essential to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. He was the person who would give notes and be critical and push back, and he was that person in a way that George Lucas never had again.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because certainly what we saw with Howard Kazanjian on Return of the Jedi was a hired gun. Rick McCallum did what George Lucas wanted. Mm-hmm. Gary Kurtz was present before the birth.
Right.
So in a very real sense, he could stake a claim on the original Star Wars' success just as much as George Lucas. Mm-hmm. So, you've read the Star Wars, and they adapted that into the comic and whatever. Well, that went through a process, and so a lot of the changes that were made to make the movie palatable and where to come in and who to minimize and who to eliminate, we see it. We see, obviously, for as important as Star Wars was in coming together in the edit, you also had at the time they were filming, they had boiled it down into its essence, right? And I mean, you and I, we talked through The Phantom Menace and also Attack of the Clones, and the thing we kept coming back to was, why have this? What is the point of this? What, all of this sort of extraneous stuff that was the product of George Lucas's substantial and impressive imagination, but it needed a filter. Gary Kurtz was that filter.
Wow. Yeah. Well, a legend.
Truly, and an unsung legend for how important he really was to the history of this franchise. But he also he produced a movie which I enjoyed quite a bit, and it was polarizing at the time. I think time has definitely been kind to it. But Return to Oz.
Oh, interesting.
Which is a very dark sequel to The Wizard of Oz. And also he produced, speaking of dark, The Dark Crystal. Yeah. And American Graffiti, right? That's where they first, him and Lucas first collaborated. That's where they first met. Yeah. So they did have a falling out, because when it came to, by the time, I think their partnership was effectively broken by the time they got done with Empire Strikes Back, because essentially Lucas blamed Gary Kurtz for the budget overruns on that film, and obviously, I think time has borne out that Gary Kurtz's instincts were right in terms of the time and money spent on that movie.
Yeah, and I mean, you can imagine Lucas, that was his money.
That's exactly right.
It wasn't the studio's money. You can imagine maybe he looked at it differently. And also, they had philosophical differences too, right? I think Kurtz had a quote saying that he thought that Lucas's, what am I trying to say? Aims, his goals had shifted as the trilogy went along, and he didn't quite agree with them, away from story and character. And
yeah, so I mean, Gary Kurtz has talked about this. You can find fascinating interviews where he talks about the original intention when they were closing out the trilogy, how it would end, and it would be a little bit more somber and bittersweet. I think he'd said that the plan was for Leia would become, she wouldn't end up with anybody. She would become sort of the queen of the Republic or whatever. And, Luke would go off in search of his sister, who was not Leia. And, and kind of like a parting of ways between this group. And you wonder what that would have looked like. I mean, obviously you and I, we grew up with Return of the Jedi. And so that the cement has hardened for what the end of that saga is supposed to look like.
Right.
But you can see where he was coming from too, because certainly Empire Strikes Back, it seemed to be pointing towards something a little bit more somber. But regardless, if you're listening, go to Google Gary Kurtz interview, and a rich motherload of articles and things will come up, and you'll get an insight into what he did to make Star Wars what it is.
I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, please do.
I would like to learn. I just very, very surfacey knowledge about him, so I would like to learn more.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
And I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but I was Googling a bit as we were talking, just sort of related to the things we were talking about. And there's a video, I don't know if we've mentioned this or not, but there's a video called How Star Wars Was Saved in the Edit.
Okay.
Have we mentioned that? We watched this together actually last time.
We've mentioned it on the show a few times, yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you're a Star Wars fan and a filmmaking fan, I mean, this is just a really, really fascinating look at how a movie could. I mean, all the footage is shot, and you put it together, and it could not go great. And just seeing how movies, they say, movies are made 3 times. They're made when they're written, they're made when they're shot, and they're made when they're edited. And this is one of those things that just makes a very strong case for the editing of a film, and how you can discover, you can find the classic within what you've shot in the editing room. So, highly recommend it.
Yeah, really, really worth checking out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, by the way, real quick, actually, we were talking about Return of the Jedi and how that movie morphed into what it is. I just thought this was really tangentially related to what we were talking about. Another person who was offered the directing job, we've mentioned David Lynch, had been offered, but David Cronenberg also was offered that.
Yeah, I remember that. I've read that. He just spoke about that recently, didn't he?
Yeah, he gave a quote to Entertainment Weekly, and I thought this was interesting. He says, I still recall getting a phone call. Somebody said that they were from, I guess it was Lucasfilm, and asked me if I was interested. And at that point, it was called Revenge of the Jedi, actually, until somebody pointed out that it was against Jedi philosophy to think in terms of revenge. But anyway, I was asked if I would be interested in considering that and meeting with everybody, and I said, with the arrogance of youth, relative youth anyway, I said, well, I'm not used to doing other people's material. And there was like a stunned silence and then click, hang up. Basically, that was as close as I came to that. I love the stunned silence.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, sorry, I just found that amusing. What were you saying?
Well, no, it's hard to imagine. I mean, it's particularly with him and Lynch. I mean, those are people that have very recognizable visual stamps, right?
Yeah, you would have had Ewoks like throwing up on their food and then devouring it. Darth Vader would have had a cabinet with his body parts in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But, interesting. Well, yeah, and then probably the biggest news, I'd say Star Wars news of the week, is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy has been, her contract's been renewed for 3 years with Lucasfilm.
Aw, wah, wah, to all the people who are shedding crocodile tears because she ruined Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, this is a person who has only been at this for 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. And she's the whole company was bought for $4 billion, and with their output, they've already surpassed $4 billion. So, look, they've had some bumps along the road, and they've been very visible bumps on a very beloved property. But all in all, not such a bad job so far. So I think it's. Bob Iger actually recently did an interview where he talked about that he accepted responsibility for so much Star Wars out of the gate, and he thought that was not a good thing, and they plan to correct that.
Yes.
And, I think, look, lessons learned, and they'll probably reevaluate, and they saw what worked, they saw what didn't, and it'll be interesting to see, I don't know, how Star Wars continues moving ahead.
Brian, I mean, I don't know about you, but my social media feeds over the last 2 weeks have been overflowing with people with some variation of, I just watched Solo. I don't know why I missed it in theater. It's so good.
I've seen that too. Yeah.
And I mean, almost to the T, right? And it occurs to me the above and beyond everything else, the directing issues and whatever else, you will never convince me that the original sin of Solo was not simply that they scheduled it in May instead of December.
I totally agree. They just needed time to breathe.
If it was opening 2 months from now, it would have been a big hit.
Yeah. Well, people would have been anticipating it, and I think people were rolling their eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that because almost to the one, even people were like they're not necessarily over the moon about it. They're like, oh, this was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I think there would have been enough time for the tantrums over Last Jedi to evaporate a little bit, and would have done just fine. So I think that's a damn shame, because I just rewatched it last week, and I'm like, man, what a shame. I said it before. I would love to see Alden Ehrenreich and back and see the Falcon flying around and get more adventures of these characters. It's just a damn shame we'll never get that.
Agreed. Yeah. It was nice being there at the beginning with you, enjoying it.
That's true. There was a very funny, honest trailer, though, that they dropped for Solo that I did chuckle at a bit.
Oh, ditto. Yeah, I watched that too.
Now, that being said, people are, and it's very predictably, people are tantruming online. And there's a lot of Kathleen Kennedy sucks. She's a terrible producer and this and that. And it's like, say what you want about Star Wars under her watch. How can you have you looked at her filmography?
Oh, not only the biggest hits, but the biggest enduring classics, modern classics of the last several decades. Anyone who says that, it's not even worth listening to.
It's just talk to the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she will be re-upping for 3 years, and there's already conspiracy theories out there that they were trying to get somebody else to do it, and nobody said yes, so they just kept her because it looks bad. I mean, people
because that's how billion-dollar companies operate.
That's exactly right. That's exactly how Disney works.
Yeah,
they couldn't find any. Think about that. They couldn't find anybody willing to think about that.
Yeah,
Lucasfilm. Nobody wants to take over Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. Kathleen Kennedy, producer of Jurassic Park and Schindler's List and Munich.
Back to the Future and E.T. and
fine, I guess. I guess we'll keep you around.
Yeah.
Like, this is how the internet has ruined society, really. Like,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's been pluses and minuses.
It feels like there have been more minuses than pluses. I don't know. Sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, what I thought was interesting too. This wasn't on our list here, but Rian Johnson, who is supposedly going to be making a Star Wars trilogy forthcoming, he is directing something not Star Wars related right now, or he's at least in pre-production on it.
It's the Daniel Craig thing, right?
Yeah, like a noir detective thriller with Daniel Craig, and I wondered if that was someone being like, "Look, everybody liked Rian Johnson, previous to Last Jedi." Many people still do, but I'm just saying beforehand, people were very enthused about him, fanboys in particular. And so I wonder if they're like, remind everybody what you do. Yeah. Make a thing everybody likes and thinks is cool, and then come back.
I just, this past week, I rewatched portions of Looper, and I'm like, God damn, this is an impressive movie, It really is. Like, it holds up so well. Mm-hmm. And you can see why he got the Star Wars gig on the back of that.
Yeah.
And then I go on Twitter yesterday. This is just yesterday evening, and random dude tweets at Rian Johnson, "You suck. Stop making movies." and I'm like, first of all, Rian Johnson seems to have handled this stuff the right way. I'm sure to some extent you have to build up a bit of a callus, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm like this guy, whoever this person is, like, why do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why take... You just spent time to shout into the wind in the hopes that you can make somebody's day shittier.
Yeah.
And that's so bizarre to me,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get. I don't mean this to be like my anti-Twitter harangue, but I do find the psychology at work sort of fascinating in like a forensic, Zodiac killer kind of way.
It is interesting, though. I mean, again, now this is the end of the episode. We can babble a little bit, but I think we talked about this on the show. But I had a friend telling me that their young children were very mean to Alexa.
Okay.
And there's something about a thing that can't talk back to you. That just
Alexa, meaning the Amazon.
I'm sorry, yeah, the Amazon digital device that sort of has like a quote unquote AI in it. I guess it is. It's just not very smart. And I thought that was interesting, and then I found myself being kind of mean to it once because it wasn't doing what I wanted, and I think I called it stupid. I was like. You know what I mean? And I was like, no. I didn't say that. I said, whatever. Come on. What's wrong with you? And I'm like talking to this little box. It's so stupid. I'm stupid. And I wonder if there's like a little bit of that in there. Like you say, like shouting into the wind. I mean, would that person say that to Rian Johnson's face? Probably not. But like when they have this opportunity to sort of blab it in a one-way conversation, what is with, I guess I have to admit it to, in some ways, like, yeah, there's like this little twinge of meanness in all of us.
Yeah.
And then there's just different ways that we manifest it. And sometimes we can keep it down, and sometimes it like kind of escapes. And for some people it escapes in bigger and more destructive ways.
It's weird, right? Because I have personally witnessed the ability of Twitter to bring people together and to make meaningful connections with these people who we think of as unreachable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you know personally of a thing I told you about that blew my hair back this past summer. Mm-hmm. Where I was able to interact with somebody and really accomplish something.
Yeah.
And so I look at this and I'm like, this is a window. This is a way for you to potentially make a connection with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I tweeted at Rian Johnson, I'm not saying he would respond, but if I'm like, hey, I really liked this, but I had a question about this, he might actually respond.
Yeah. You've had that experience.
I absolutely have, you know. I've been able to get, you know, James Gunn to answer a question, or Christopher McQuarrie, or whatever, you know. I'm not saying they're my buddies, but there's a connection there. There's an exchange. And I'm like, you have this opportunity. Why not do that? Instead of being a goddamn asshole.
Well, actually, similarly, someone recently asked, what's his name? David Ayer?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Right? About the Joker tattoos,
the Joker,
which I was not a fan of. But they asked it not in like a negative, like, what was up with that stupid thing, stupid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I have it right here. He just said, what was the inspiration behind damaged tattoo on Joker's forehead?
Which was, if you recall, that was a thing that you, from the jump, you were like, I do not like that.
No, I did not. I do not. I do not like it on a train. I do not like it on a plane. Like, I always thought that was a bad idea. And it's interesting because he did ask it respectfully, and Ayer, I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. David Ayer. He replied, yes, have to fall on the sword. It was one step too far. He got a response.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know. Civility.
Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, you had 50 clickbait articles. What David Ayer said about the Joker tattoo. Why David Ayer's response to the Joker tattoos is the best thing you'll read today.
Yeah. Why it matters. Yeah.
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, you get these moments of human interaction, and you say, "Oh, this is the good that this is capable of." Right? Yeah. And by the way, they are still planning. Well, we're in Star Wars section, but since you segued to Joker, they are still planning a Joker and Harley movie.
Oh yeah, they called it like "This Is Us."
Yeah.
Right, meets something else.
Yeah, they said it's Breaking Bad meets This Is Us.
Okay.
So really, it's going to be This Is Bad. That's
It's buzzword TV show meets thing you like meets yeah.
Jared Leto, Joker, Margot Robbie, Harley. I'm going to go ahead and say it, Brian. I'm going to shake my finger to the heavens. That movie will never get made. I'm going to say it right here. Let's see where I am a year from now. But
I don't know. Maybe they learned some lessons, and I don't know.
If Jared Joker doesn't say hunka hunka, then I don't know why you even bother making that movie.
Right. I wonder if the actors on that are like, oh, geez, what do I have to get in the mail from him now?
I tweeted, this is maybe 2 weeks ago, where I was like, is it just me, or does the Jared Leto Joker get kind of a bum rap? Like, I didn't think it was that bad. You know, I think he had the misfortune of coming right after Ledger and whatever. And that tweet, by the way, just like took off and went viral. And one guy responds, and he's like, my dude. And he just posts, literally, it's like a 3-second clip of Jared Leto going, hunka hunka. And I was like, yeah, okay, you're right.
You know what I feel about with him? I feel like that is an actor bringing something, and it's the director's job to sculpt.
Yes.
And I feel like, so I'm not going to 100% dismiss it, because he was like, you know, shooting for the fences, and then a director had to recognize, like, okay, we got to like turn this into something.
Yes.
So I was not a fan. I'm not pussyfooting around that. Like, I was not a fan, but I do wonder if with some other sculpting and maybe a better movie and whatnot, maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Well, and also if they concentrated more on the performance than all the stories about how he would send used condoms to his like actor friends and like the weird like method actor preparation that I don't think anybody appreciated.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. Maybe he'll listen to the show. Maybe Jared, you know, just tone it down just a scotch. That's our advice. That's our advice from movie film. And I think that piece of advice is a good place to leave this conversation. Brian, what do you think?
That sounds good to me.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we did cover a lot of ground, but we will be back later this week for a special episode talking through our reactions to Venom.
You thought you could get rid of us?
No, we're like a bad penny.
We always turn up.
Yeah. So that's coming later in the week. But as we wrap up this episode, Brian, you want to talk up what you have going on right now?
Yeah, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but Puppy Dog Pals, which I write on, got renewed for a third season, but coming up right away, season 2 is starting mid-October. Sorry, I don't have the date in front of me, but mid-October. So if you are watching certain episodes over and over and over with your kids, fear not, more is coming.
There's new ones coming.
Yeah.
And as for me, you can find me at my website, Zaki'sCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. I just posted my full review of The Predator, which Brian and I talked about in our last episode. Also coming up on the movie film spin-off show, Nostalgia Theater, in just a few short days. I have my conversation with Dr. Arnold T. Blumberg about his book looking at the history of the zombie movie genre, and we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead, which, Brian, you know me, I'm a big fan of the George Romero zombie movies.
Yep.
So this was a fun conversation to have, which I hope people will check that out. That's dropping on October 1st, so just a few days after this episode drops. And also, I want to tell everybody listening, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. If you have any questions or comments, you can go to Facebook, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, like the page, and message us there. You can also email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com and send your questions, comments, or concerns there. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this episode, but we'll be back soon. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.